Hello my viewers, today I'm making this video because I wanted to share with you the reasons why I bought exactly this Cayenne and not any other. It's not a professional review, it's just an opinion, my opinion as an owner of this car for almost 5 months. I drove around 4,000 miles in it, or like 6,000 kilometers, and it's been great. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Ten years ago, when I turned 18 and got my driver's license, it was time to buy my first car. I really wanted Porsche 944, but I realized I would struggle to maintain it as a daily driver. So instead I bought an Alfa Romeo. Had few different Alfas through the years, loved them all. And 10 years later I realized I still want a Porsche. So I thought, how do I become a Porsche owner and don't burn my hands with it? Obviously I'm not a rich person by any means. Therefore I could aim at early 996 911s or the original Boxster S. But at this point in my life I simply could not buy another weekend's car. I have 4 Alfa Romeos at the moment and only one of them is a daily driver, and it's my wife's. I needed a daily and I wanted to enter Porsche ownership. So which Cayenne should I buy? Base, S, Turbo, GTS. I read many posts in Porsche forums, watched many reviews. S with a V8 looked like a conventional choice, but it's not really a very good choice. A nice S can turn into a worthless S in 500 kilometers. 2 of the 8 cylinders suffer from oil starvation. If it was not very well maintained, if the owner didn't check the oil level regularly, the engine developed major problems. And that V8 is next to impossible to rebuild. Basically, if you want to own a used V8 Cayenne, you should have so much money you could buy a brand new one instead. And the cars for sale confirm that. You can find a lot of Cayenne S's with 200,000 kilometers on the clock and major engine problems. So a V6 then, I thought. 955 V6 or 957 V6. Some say 955 V6 is underpowered, and they are right, but the facelift Cayenne V6 is much better. 290 horsepower, a lot of torque in the lower RPMs, the sport mode, the car feels very much alive. And it should be pretty much bulletproof, unless you overheat it, then you're screwed. Therefore you just, should from time to time check the coolant level for any coolant leakage problems. And that's it. Okay, I know it's not a Porsche engine, I know. But it's a good engine. It's a good engine for your first Porsche. As I mentioned before, it's pretty much bulletproof. And when something fails, usually the parts are the same which go for Audis and Volkswagens. So I mean, you will not have to sell your last pants if something breaks. So 957 V6 then, but which year? I suggest you the latest you find. This one is 2009. It means it has a nice PCM with touchscreen, USB, iPod connections, Bluetooth and other things that make your car feel more modern. And they have less miles on the clock. Just don't be fooled by all the options you don't really need. Do you really need a 4-zone climate control? Or a power steering column adjustment? Or air suspension? Air suspension is a nice thing when it's new and when it works. When it breaks, you're broke. And the electrics, all the Cayennes have problems with corroded wires, but that's cheap to fix. On the other hand, I have the example that if the ignition lock fails, you are instantly broke. Why? Because when it fails, you not only have to change the ignition lock with a new one, with a brand new one, you have to change a steering column with a brand new one as well. And they simply cost a fortune. And here we run into problems. Low miles, last year 957 V6 ain't very cheap. Some are cheaper than others. This might be because some of them are not accident free. They have been into some kind of a collision in their lives, just as this one. It had a front right collision damage. But Cayennes are very robust and they have high ground clearance. They are very good cars to hit something with, and they are still good after they are repaired. Well, in conclusion, don't aim too high with your first Porsche. Look for a V6. Not because it's simply cheaper. It's not cheaper to buy, it's cheaper to live with. Don't go for a Cayenne with all the options. You'll just have more stuff to fix. And don't turn away from Cayennes with body damage. And when you feel you can do better, go upscale and buy something more exotic, like SGTS Turbo or something like that. Personally, I know I will go with a Boxster after this one.